What's up, beautiful people? In the light of love, we're going more into the sacral chakra, breathing in, beautiful reflections. Just listen to the drum if you can hear it. Allow the sound therapy to touch your spirit. As we open up this door with my beautiful brother, Andrew Rezmer of Conscious Living Radio, leadership of leading beautiful conscious events. I want to remind you a little bit about Tantra. And the purpose of Tantra yoga is to enhance spiritual growth and physical well-being through the exploration of these energies and their connection to the universe. The purpose of life and the connection to others can be understood in a new dimension. So welcome to the new dimension in this talk, as we want to enliven the opportunity to open up more conversations on diving deep into ourselves and reflecting that with beautiful people. And Andrew Rezmer, I want to hold space for you, my dear brother, for being here and rising these beautiful topics, you know, and opening up these doors of what you've learned with your personal journey with Tantra, and likewise reflecting my personal journey and my dedication to the need for growth in this area. So listeners and friends, you know, whether you're tapping into this now or you're tapping into the future, you're tapping in because I've suggested to you to watch it, a student, a friend, a lover, or reflection in any of our community conscious focus networks. One way in order to connect to Tantra and the foundation of your personal energy, connecting to your energy body, is through breath. And our breath is our life force energy. In yoga and Tantra, they call it pranayama. And so pranic energy is your life force, which brings you into this life and takes you out. Another really big part of your creation is the intimacy between a male and female that gets you there. And that's the foundation with breathing and sex and the beauty of your sex energy. And another way to look at sex, because this word is so misunderstood, is to come back to life force, the life force that is co-creating between us. And I like to change the words and bring us through an introduction to Tantra with breathing technique. So Andrew, you can join me in this too, because you're on the other side. And I want people to feel the opportunity, if they're curious why we're talking about this, to know where it can all start for them. Is that it's as simple as you looking within, getting in a room alone, going deep, first of all, into your breath. And one really good way to connect to your tantric energy and to start watching your energy is through priming your energy. So this Tantra technique that I want to share is chakra breathing. I learned it with Master Osho. And it really helped me a lot, you know, when the mind would mind in my journey alone with sex or with energy that was rising in my body. So you can use this technique, say, you know, let's go to the logical sense of you feeling horny. Okay, you're just feeling horny. You want to expand your energy. And then we'll go to the deeper spiritual aspect, is where you start to reflect energy and you start to become the witness through breath. So both are happening, whether you're minding in your logical sense and you're like, okay, you know, I'm waking up. Either I have a heart on or I have like this energy that's just like waking me up. It's my natural energy, or feminine energy. You know, I'm feeling a flow, or I'm feeling delicious. How we can go more into the observer is through these breathing techniques. So chakra breathing is a wonderful priming method of, it's using the mouth. A lot of the priming breathing is in the nasal, but you can just open your mouth, relax your body while you're sitting. And Andrew, you can sit there and you can relax. And just start focusing on your lower parts of your body, where your root chakra is, and that's right below your sits bone area. So you bring your attention down so that you can start to feel how energy can rise. So first we go down and we start breathing in each chakra, and we go to our sacral right after, which is in our belly. And then we go into our solar plexus right above your belly button, your heart, your throat, your crown, and sorry, your third eye and your crown. Now, these are the basic aspects of knowing chakras. There's so much more to chakra therapy, but these ways you can start to breathe and set intentions so you can let go more of the mind in connecting to your sexual energy. Whether it's that you're feeling horny, you want to explore yourself alone or with a partner, or you want to go into a meditation where you just breathe through the body and watch your energy rise. Okay, so this is very basic, and hopefully I explained enough for you to feel comfortable. And basically you just open your mouth, relax your jaw, roll your shoulder blades back. You can look within by closing your eyes and just start breathing into your root chakra. And everybody, if you need questions or answers about root chakra, we'll go into that. And then start to rise into your sacral, your solar, your heart, your throat, your third eye, and your crown. Just let the energy rise up. We'll do that for a couple minutes. Here we go. So that sound ha helps to stimulate the mind slowing down. Breathe, and then allow yourself about 7 breaths per chakra. So this is simple, fast, and easy, just to get an introduction to it. So let your root chakra move up to your sacral. And come up to your solar plex. Come up into your heart. Come up into your throat. Come up into your third eye. And then come up to your crown. Now we can look at each other. We primed our body a little bit. We become a little bit more clear with our presence. Our blood flow is running. We've set intentions to our finer body, our divine body. And setting intention, with going on this journey with Tantra and knowing that we can connect to others and ourselves and understand this whole other dimension that exists is that calling back to breath and life force energy. So now that we've come to that place, and I wanted to, really set a sacred awareness with shedding the light and reflecting with you, Brother Andrew. Let's talk about the awareness of breath and its connection to nature. So have you discovered, through even going deeper into your own personal meditations, your breathing, the difference that changes once you start breathing into your body, or the feeling of the rising of your energy, and then the connection with nature? Tell me a little bit about your journey with that.
Yeah, the breath is actually, if we really think of it, our life is just one breath in some symbolic way. When we come out, when we are born, we take the first breath, and then when we exit this world, this body, we take the last breath, or we exhale. So we inhale and exhale. So life is just a long breath, one long breath. So if this realization, this attitude towards breath, that is starting and leaving this world with that, I think it's helpful each time when we encounter some kind of challenges in our life, or when we want to get closer and go deeper. Because if, let's say, I'm sitting in the nature and I try to synchronize my breath, at least in my mind, with the nature, it's synchronized with the trees, synchronized with the movement of the stars, synchronized with whatever I'm in front of, or whatever I'm putting my attention on. If it's my lover that I'm in front of, and we synchronize our breaths, we synchronize our heartbeat, we synchronize our thoughts, we synchronize our lives together. in that moment, in that process, in that meditation. uh, it allows us to bring more awareness to whatever we are practicing in the moment. And breath is like a heartbeat. It's we're inhaling this connection, and we are exhaling ourselves to allow that other person or nature to take us. So we're continuously making love through breath with whatever we're putting our attention on.
Thank you. Yeah, and I wanted to reflect a little bit, because a lot of what happens, when I bring these topics about Tantra, or the exploration of, meditating for years, and then how breath helped me, or how I can open doors for people to really trust, a connection to their breath and life force energy, versus the fears around sex, and the fears that are around exploring yourself alone, and all those voices in your head. I wanted to be able to offer this breath technique, so that, that union and connection with nature will start to happen more, even when you see the sun,
Hmm.
Or the gaze of the moon, and like how we can change our perspective and the seasons as they change, to appreciate the power of this life force energy and the gift of life. So for myself, I mean, I love how you brought that back to the heart. And where I see that too, is through intimacy, how wonderful we can be connecting, even through the touch, of our hands, or the touch of touching somebody else. And what I really feel that we can open about, is discovering the witness of that, because we're getting into breath, we're getting to the heart. Now we're getting into like how nature's connecting with us, but then we have a 3D reality, and we got to go through the mind, we got to go through all the layering and all the desires. So, have you discovered your inner watcher, alone, enjoying with yourself, or a partner when it comes to Tantra? Talk about that a little bit. What have you discovered about your inner watcher and enjoying a partner, whether it's alone or with somebody else?
Yeah, I just want to kind of put out the waiver. We did that last time. I did that last time when we started this conversation. I'm very careful about using word Tantra. You, Leanne, you have spent more time, energy. You've practiced with Osho. You've been actually following Tantra, but the Tantra is such a huge, vast knowledge and wisdom and practice. It's 5,000 years of different angles, and there's white tantra, there's black tantra, there's gray tantra, there's red tantra, there's tantra that has nothing to do with sexuality, just energy flow. There's tantra that is utilized as some of those aspects in sexual union. So I'm just I wanted to make sure that we don't offend anyone. It's a very deep, long Indian tradition that has 5,000 years of history, and I don't want what I say in some way reduce this beautiful collection of knowledge to a few comments of my own experience with a few courses that I took here and there. So that's, I think it's important for those listeners who may not know what Tantra is, not to think that what we suggest is all there is. There's so much more, and keep looking. For me, yes, this separation of me and what my body, what my hormones, what my mind is trying to achieve, my insecurities or my desires or my fantasies or my needs, with the aspect of me that is able to separate or isolate myself from the human expression of me, and just be witnessing all of that is happening. And this switching, allowing sometimes myself fully, my body, my needs, my drive, my sexuality or my passion or whatever it is, I'm just surrendering to it, as long as it's respectful and as long as it's not destructive, to allow that force to be fully expressed through my body, and sometimes uh, just witnessing that force to be awakened, to be arisen, to be witnessed without being expressed. And sometimes Tantra, there's lots of opportunities utilizing these different techniques to redirect that energy, the energy, sexual energy, into creative energy, or into health energy, to healing energy, and so on. So again, I don't think we are going to be able in those few short interviews to cover the whole aspect, but it is possible, and I have witnessed and practiced myself this ability to separate body from mind, from heart, from spirit, from soul, and act on behavior or experience the moment on all those different levels.
So good. Thank you. And I like that we're giving value to any of the listeners that are listening. You know, my intention for doing this, and then also reflecting Andrew, is that the leadership that comes from doing these acts, or that these acts are purchasing me, because it purchased me, or this wisdom purchased me, and for my higher self, my third eye opened, purchased me, that I want to keep that subtle flow of not having it fixed. Because when I discovered my chakras, I actually discovered more of my third eye before my root chakra. Even though it was always there, it was the third eye that reminded me of each chakra and how they all play a role personally for me. So Tantra and having this gateway, I want to be a bridge or a gate to get some information out, to give honor and respect to how everybody is discovering themselves, but to keep that coming, because Tantra has asked me to bring it. So with bringing that through, and also Andrew, because I've known you for a long time, I know you always nudged at me about this. Oh, look at this girl doing that thing about Tantra, and I have you in my vortex. And so I wanted to make sure I challenged you to bring this out too. So I want to talk a little about receptivity. So now we've talked about a few things about our sexuality, our energy, and discovering it alone, enjoying it and being okay with that, you know, and then how it changes with a partner. So that was one thing. I would like to go into that a little bit, because I find when I get alone, and I was able to embrace my sexuality alone, I found my receptivity with my higher self. And then I was able to dissolve in a state of no mind into an expansion of consciousness and just walk with bliss. And then it led me into further depths of meditation. But I see something, you know, making sure with Tantra that you come through that awareness first by breathing and getting the mind to act, to slow down, so that we're here and we're more present, but then to share love. And I find it's very different when you're sharing love with yourself in source energy and rediscovering your inner kingdom, and then with a partner. So you're in a great relationship right now, and I don't want to put you on the spot to talk openly about every detail, but maybe you can talk a little bit about what you discovered alone prior to your relationships, or through your relationships with source, your higher self, and then with a partner. Have you noticed any difference?
Yes, of course. I think the biggest difference when practicing or connecting with a partner is this dance of individual needs and needs of the partner, or expectations, respect, fears. Sexuality is such a powerful force. It's a force of life, but also has been abused. And literally, I don't think I ever met a woman that has not had some kind of bad experience, either abuse or mistreatment, or either physical or verbal, uh, and and it's usually related to sexuality, or it's always related to sexuality in some form. And so when two people connect, and what connects is their imagination, their fantasy of what they were hoping to experience with that person, their fears, what they are afraid of avoiding, trying to avoid, with their hopes for creating something that they haven't never experienced yet before. That would be powerful. So all those different aspects are floating, and um, I think the practices that you're inviting us and our listeners to try are bringing our attention back to the source inside of us, to the source outside of us, to the source within that other person, and acting in fueled or motivated by love, by passion, but also don't push without pushing away desire, without pushing away need, because those powerful energies like desire, like need, like fantasy, are also very helpful to express the physically more fully. um, the, there's very little difference on the outside if man is ravishing his lover, or when man is raping his lover. The behavior, the scene may look very similar. The act, the power, the force, the
Mm,
energy, the movements are very similar. The difference is intention.
mm,
If someone is taking advantage of another person against her will, that's rape. That's painful. That's disgusting. That's where ravishing someone from love, from desire, from passion for that person, it's it's beautiful. It's powerful,
mm,
especially if the recipient of that ravishment is open and allowing and wanting and feeling this, being needed, being wanted, being desired. So
mm,
all those different aspects are important to incorporate and to realize, to understand, to allow, to surrender to, and the ability of that is only it's much improved or enhanced with the practices that you're inviting us to incorporate into lovemaking.
yeah. And then the breathing there too. So now that we're talking about this, I'd like just to remind the listeners, what I was showing you in the beginning. Now, this is where I've had a lot of breakthroughs in my own journey with sex and then many partners, but really knowing what source had called me to in aloneness. And then I reflect that externally so that I can have a divine partner, and that I can always completely understand why this had to come to me, is I need to pour it out, right? So my biggest thing was that breathing technique. When we allow ourselves to go back into appreciating the divine selves, go back into the life force, the mind slows down from that breathing technique. The intimacy and the movement with breath can make us more ecstatic and more open and more expressive and fearless in our natural nature, which comes back into the animal kingdom within us to express and to be fearless with, and then to open and create that trust with a partner. So, that now that we talked about being alone, and I want to touch a little bit more on the key principle of receptivity. So I don't know where you are with receptivity, Andrew, but how I have discovered, I started yoga really young, and then I was receptive to my nerve endings getting hit. And then I would get, a communication with my higher self. But I'd had to read tons of books and meet many gurus to figure out, oh, it was my higher self and it was source, and that's me, and I'm having this full conversation with such a beautiful, expansive part of me that's hitting my nerve endings, hitting my vagina, hitting my stomach, hitting my breast, hitting my shoulders. And then continually every day I was getting my nerve endings hit until I figured it out, and I had opened as many books as possible. So
How did that express itself? Like, what do you mean when you say that you're being hit?
so the nerve ending within my nerve. So pranic breathing, when I would do a lot of pranic breath,
Hmm.
obviously I'd be more sensitive and receptive to my inner world and my cellular world. And then it would be like, it's kind of like you took a needle, and it was a very fine needle into one cell or a spark. And that's how I really got able to understand my soul, because I knew that it was very fine, and I knew what my mind was after with a lot of meditation. But it was like, my consciousness could be clear, and it would communicate with me and my inner guidance that, oh, this is your higher self, and that's a spark. In the beginning, I would look out. Is that God? Is what, like, is this, like, I used to be like, what's this? And even the energy field, like, whoa, what's all that? And I'm like, then I start to read and I start to get guidance, and then certain masters would come to me, and then tarot cards would open, and then I was like, oh, aha. So that's receptivity with my higher self. So it would be like, I would have an alignment where I'd be guided through like the laws of attraction towards something, and then there'd be a warning from my higher self, and it would say, don't go that way. So my higher self was trying to prevent me from going in a direction, and I just had to be in my breath and in my yoga self to hear it and go the other way where it's trying to take me, by being so in tune. Because every time I would practice and I would say, no, I'm going to go that way anyways, then trouble will come. So then I started seeing my higher self do the same thing with hitting my nerve endings. And then I would feel pleasure, and it'd be like, oh, go and enjoy your body alone. And
Well,
then I
that's
would
important.
go.
I think that's an important distinction, because when you said that it's like a needle, it sounded very painful.
Yeah. Okay. So there's another lesson. So there's two areas of this. So when I was more receptive in my meditation in samadhi states, so samadhi, we can talk about that later, but in my samadhi states, it would just be a flicker of light. But in my active reality states, when I would have those receptivity, it would feel like a pinch, because I'm not as quiet in my mind or in my body when I was experiencing. And those were two lessons I had to learn about receptivity. I was like, oh, when I'm in my active mind, I'm in Leanne, the go-doer, the achiever. I'm going to go out. I'm going to go get that. I would get warnings from my higher self. Don't go here, go here, go here, go there. Open that door. Don't open that door. But then when I'm sitting in samadhi states, it would be a flicker of light. And then it'd be an unveiling of Kundalini rising in my body, opening up. And then I am that I am. I am bliss.
Beautiful.
So yeah, so these little tips and tools, I want to make sure that, I talk about it in ways that can be understood, because a lot of this inner work was like the unfolding of opening up that book or listening to that guru or going here. And then the aha moment, I'm like, okay, can I make this easier for people? Yeah. Get them into breathing, get them into pranic breath work. That's why I'm working on that. Get them to do the basic asana for the body, so that the body is open and not blocked. Get them to be dynamic and to move, and then get them into a state where they're able to feel and enjoy, and then let that bliss rise. Let more of that bliss rise. So I know with our time, we could open a couple of really good things here. Let's talk a little bit more about, okay. So as an open conscious sexual being, how does the body call you to engage in lovemaking?
Yeah, that's a good segue, that also connects with what you're describing in your practice or in your discovery. I think the big difference that I've learned, and I have to admit that in my life, it was more plants, spirit plants, and that helped me to open those areas than actual practice, Tantra practice, where I've learned to separate the experience that my body is going through in the moment, that I may have a perceived label for that experience, and I could call this experience discomfort, or I can call it pain, or whatever it is, because based on whatever association I make when I have this experience in my body. And then I've learned that actually, if I just look at this as an experience without trying to compare with anything that happened in the past or anything that I'm trying to achieve or experience in the future, or that when I look into this experience by itself, I can actually shift experience from the same sensation in my body I can experience as pain, I can experience as numbness, or I can experience as pleasure, or as I can experience as anything else that I may want to, or open myself to flow. And it's sensation that I'm almost like creating something out of this. And I'm the driver, I'm the I could be a director of this movie, that I'm also the only or one of major actors, or I can allow myself to be taken by this sensation in my body and explore, oh, what else can I experience? And I remember vividly the multiple situations where after hours of meditating or sitting in a one position, I felt this pain in my back, or I started fidgeting and moving and trying to um, call it a pain. But then when I allow myself to open to the what else could it be, I actually felt amazing, beautiful pleasure of feeling the surroundings and sun touching my skin, or the wind breeze on my face, and even what was called pain now is like a opportunity to breathe into that spot and feel the dissolving of tension and dissolving of lack of movement and so on. So um, I think there's this for me one of the most powerful lesson that I've learned, that there are no answers, there is no limit, there is no okay, you do this to get this. That's a very simple and very limited roadmap to get
Mm,
from point A to point B, because there's multiple ways to get there, and you can get there instantly. You don't have to do anything to get there as well. So it's not that you need to breathe, or you need to meditate, or you need to eye gaze, or you need to whatever else it is. You don't need to do anything, and yet you have capacity to get to the whatever outcome you are desiring to have.
so good. Where I was going with that, I was listening to you, I felt, methods are only there when we forget.
Yeah.
So that's why I share methods, because we are forgetful as humans. But when we are in our flow, even the forgetfulness brings an opportunity for desire to remember. And so when I realized that opportunity of transformation deeply, I knew the best thing I could do in service to anybody else was to get them back to consciousness, and quick ways, quick methods. So hopefully this breathing technique that we did today, as an introduction to breathing, it's a primic breath work, that more of that will be coming as I continue to grow. But Andrew, there's so much that we have here to expand and to offer people the opportunity to feel comfortable and safe, that have the curiosity with this word Tantra or sex or life force energy, and how we can be a more abundant with even things like astral travels and healing from a distance and waking up our Reiki. There's so much simply from our life force energy. So I salute you. I have so much gratitude for this option to trust me to grow this tree of life, and listeners, Andrew Rezmer always meets me in my dreams, so I know how to come back and to challenge him. So that's another topic we can talk about, astral travels, a little bit more drumming, and we hope to see you soon. I hope to see you again, Andrew, and we can continue this.
Thank you.